Okay, so it'd be great to start with a little bit of background on Project IceCloud. I know there's three organizations involved. I think it's Vespertec, Sardina Systems, and Borealis Data Center. Just be good to understand how the three of you sort of came to collaborate on the project.
So I think Ken is the strongest one to get back on this, but it essentially, like many great things, it started at a conference in Germany. So Ken, you want to
Sure. So yeah, it all started in autumn of 2022. We had a conversation with Borealis initially to discuss this. Now, if we look at it from the customer's perspective, customers want to have the end result of a cloud platform that they can better manage in terms of data sovereignty, data privacy. And so it's a situation where the end goal is clear. But then from Sardina Systems side, we alone didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle. So in autumn of 2022, we started talking to Borealis, we started talking to Vesper about this. And once we all got together, we could quickly establish what would be the role of each of the parties, what the value of each party, and ultimately how the parties could then come together and operate together.
Okay, so in terms of the actual end result, so I'm calling it Project IceCloud, but as I understand it, that in practical terms, that means it's Iceland's first turnkey cloud platform, or a data, I think, yeah, another way you describe it as a data center proof of concept. So just be good to understand what has actually been created, and perhaps each of you can explain what it is that your organization has brought to this project.
So shall I take that one?
Sure.
So what we've collaborated to bring together is taking away a lot of the stress and difficulty and complexity out of building a private cloud for customers. So there's three sort of key components to the solution. One is the physical data center infrastructure. And so we're talking about bespoke server design. We're talking about storage. We're talking about networking. The second is the software to run a private cloud, and that covers it's the Sardina part of the puzzle, which covers the open stack. So it's compute virtualization, and it's a very automated solution, so customers can very easily scale with that. And the backdrop is a context you've probably seen that there's a lot of controversy in the market around VMware and virtualization at the moment, and there's their sort of pricing strategy in the market. And then the final ingredient is the hosting of the solution, which is where Borealis come in. And there's a trend in the market that you've no doubt seen over the last few years, that compute solutions are becoming more and more powerful. They're becoming more and more hungry, and so sustainability is becoming, ever more important to organizations. And Borealis provide 100% renewable energy in Iceland, and so what we're able to deliver through the combined three parties is a one-stop solution which provides the private cloud solution. So if you just take a step back and consider if you wanted to set up your own private cloud and go your own way or go a different way, what you'd usually need to do is you'd need to go and design and source hardware yourself. Then you've got to arrange for the logistics to get that to the data center. You've got to arrange for the configuration to build that into a rack or send out sort of pre-built racks. You've got to install the OpenStack, and OpenStack solutions historically have been quite difficult to install. I think that's changed quite a lot recently, and I think we've proved through the setup of this solution that Ken is able to deliver a sort of working OpenStack within a couple of days, from sort of base config up to a fully functional OpenStack. And then you've got to go and negotiate and arrange the supply of your data center infrastructure as well. Sorry, your data center hosting solution as well. So you're working with 3 different parties. They're perhaps not joined up. You know, there's a lot of room for sort of error in between those, that things, you know, don't work. So by sort of working with one organization that can bring all those things together, then you're just taking a lot of the pain out of that.
And in terms of the main sort of objective, was it to produce a sort of a cloud alternative, and in the way that you've just described there, you know, sort of, and one that's sort of ready-made for customers as opposed to them having to go away and do it themselves? Or was sustainable computing the primary objective, and you're delivering that via the cloud? Just be good to understand sort of what was the main objective or the main objectives.
Sorry, Ken.
I'll try to take this. So from Sardina's perspective, you know, we want to enable customers to bring up a cloud quickly, easily. And at the same time, we understand that in order to do that, you need hardware. And as Phil mentioned a moment ago, the hardware configuration, the hardware design expertise, that's quite a bit that a customer need to pull together. And then as we now look at the concerns amongst European enterprises, privacy, data sovereignty, these are key. And at the same time, we now also see that European enterprises want to know that the data center is green. And so this is what I believe is quite unique in us bringing this together.
Okay, and in terms of the sort of the reason for it, you mentioned the VMware there a minute ago, but are you targeting particular existing sort of cloud providers or data center offerings as an alternative, or just what's the thinking behind, you know, where you're positioning yourselves in the market when it comes to colo data centers, the cloud?
So there's a few different audiences which we think will have mass appeal to. So I think service providers. So first of all, we're not providing a public cloud here. This is customers who want to build their own private clouds. But what we see this tool is for very well placed or positioned for somebody who wants to provide their own public cloud offering. So we're thinking of service providers who, you know, they're looking to provide those solutions to their customers. You know, the management's very easy, it's scalable, everything is in place for them to be able to do that. It's a very simple cost model for them to understand because they have the combined costs. So we think service providers is the good market for it. The backup market is particularly good, as well as being sustainable. The power in Iceland is very competitive as well. So the cost that we're able to offer is an attractive price point. And then also the HPC market and the AI market. You know, anything that is hugely power hungry, they should be looking in the Northern Hemisphere, you know, again, looking at sustainability, looking at costs of running that infrastructure. I think this is going to appeal to those sorts of organizations.
And maybe just one for you, Kristófer, specifically, in terms of the data center that you have, it'd just be good to understand. I mean, Iceland obviously has a deserved reputation for, you know, sustainable data centers. It'd just be good to understand what your particular facility is able to provide, and particularly, Philip mentioned there, you know, HPC and AI. Everyone knows that, you know, that's a different level of sort of power requirement heading your way soon. So just, yeah, be good to understand where you are and where you might be developing.
So if we go back almost a decade, the Icelandic data center industry was built up on the blockchain. Now today it's almost disappeared. So the first initial data centers and the brownfield installations were all built for very high densities. Furthermore, going deeper into the data center industry, we went and covered the whole fields, everything from high availability traditional workloads to HPC, and now, for some reason, definite reasons, Iceland was very prepared for the AI boom. Suddenly you had the NVIDIA GPUs going online, extremely power hungry, needing a very high sufficient cooling, and of course, Iceland provides the sustainable energy. So Iceland has built a very strong core of data center industries, and Borealis has been one of the forefronts of that. But what we've done additionally is we've spent a lot of investments and cost in developing a very sustainable solutions, very low PUE, because there's one thing to have 100% renewable energy, then you have the CO2 emissions of that energy, and the third thing is the energy you need to cool the infrastructure. And Borealis is extremely proud that we can provide PUEs as low as 1.03. So it basically needs no electricity to run air-cooled solutions. We're seeing very low numbers as well for direct liquid cooled. So Borealis has built up a very sustainable and broad service portfolio for co-location services, not only in Iceland, but in Finland as well. And we're looking at other Nordic countries to continue building up our portfolio. Therefore, we have a very strong ESG and sustainable approach for all the customers that would not want to go to the hyperscaler, want to go away from the cost increasing hyperscalers, because in the beginning, the cloud was supposed to save costs, not increase your own systems. So we're taking that idea a little bit back, providing the customer with a product which is both sustainable, cost saving, and they can alter in the way they need to run their cloud. So basically, we're giving both new players in the markets and other players, more mature players in the market, the possibility to easily jump on a new platform with a very short timeline, proving a very sustainable solution, and keeping the data sovereignty to their own, because as we know, there's a lot of very important data running around all the internet. Putting in with the public cloud comes always at a risk. So those who extremely want to keep it very close to them, close to heart, even in multiple locations, this is what we're also able to do with the IceCloud. So we can have. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to just that in terms of the capacity. So it's an existing data center that you are allocating some space for this joint project, or have you built a new facility, or what's the sort of capacity?
Yeah, so we have three types of facilities. One that's focused for storage, so it's more of a traditional co-location. Then we have the HPC, which has a medium-sized densities up to 30 kilowatts. And then we have the high density, which is either air-cooled up to 50 kilowatts per rack, or all the way up to the new NVL72 reference designs, so the GP200, for example. So we have reserved space throughout next year for customers to bring both small and large deployments within the facilities. So it also provides what's been missing in the market, the power resources, which has been allocated to the IceCloud for fast expansions.
And I'm just trying, in terms of the point of contact, is there a separate, have you created a new sort of organization called Project IceCloud, where people go, or what is one of the three of you leading the project and you're the initial point of contact for potential customers? How's that working?
So Philip, please go on.
Okay. So it's quite interesting because all three parties are in the market, and we're talking to different customers with different needs from different angles. And so we're all likely to uncover different customers. And the way we've decided that we would like to handle this is to have all three parties capable of being the transacting lead party. So whoever has that sort of first engagement with the customer will provide this one-stop solution for the customer, and they will do the job of working with the other two parties behind the scene. We're obviously very open about who it is we're collaborating with and who we're working with, to provide that one-stop solution to the customer. And, if there's a sort of level of expertise that is deeper than the single party can bring in, we'll pull one another onto phone calls, get each other involved to help support, just to give the customer the best experience for that. But all three parties are able to be the lead party.
And in terms of sort of future plans, is this very much a one-off project based in Iceland and that's it? Or as Kristófer says, obviously Borealis have data centers or plans to build them elsewhere. So is it something that once this template is, if you like, is up and running, or, and you've refined it, if it needs it, then you might look to roll it out into different locations? Or, as I say, is it just a one-off that you think will meet everyone's needs for, the foreseeable future?
So we have a roadmap ahead of us that expands the initial idea of IceCloud. It's all built on a similar ground level. Of course, we're now running the deployments with and installations for the first batches. But all in all, once we've completed the initial first year of the product, we have additional batches that we'll expand out to. The good thing about the three teams, we all address to different markets within Europe and the rest of the world. So everyone backs one another up, both on the market areas as well as our knowledge. So there's also different market needs that are fed into each one's parties. And that's why we have a very, very interesting roadmap ahead of us.
Just to give you an example there, Philip, one of the things that customers often has a requirement for storage is sort of a geo-distributed storage platform. And because Borealis has data centers in different countries, we're able to offer that. And CES Storage is the underlying storage software, which is parent software, and that is able to run geo-distributed across more than one location. And so that's something that we're going to be able to offer customers.
And in terms of those locations, clearly you'll go to a certain extent where customers maybe are asking you or wanting, but will sustainability, because in the Nordics, sustainability is almost a given. I know you have to work at it, but the shall we say, the natural conditions are good for sustainability. Would that be more of a challenge if you had to move further south, shall we say, or can you still be happy that sustainability will still be sort of front and center?
In the core, Borealis will always be and will always aim to be the leading sustainable data center in the industry. So no matter where we will deploy, we will always deploy on the most sustainable practices that's available in that area. And maybe to go on that, Borealis means north. We focus on the north part of the world where you can actually get the most sustainable computing. But the IceCloud does not limit is not limited to Borealis. We know that the solution, the software stack from Kenneth is extremely good, and Vespertec has the best connections in the industry to hardware. So if the customer needs to deploy another installation somewhere else closer to home, that's no problem. We work finding the best solution for the customer without locking him into a single thing. And that's the beauty of IceCloud. It's really bringing the power to the customer while giving him speed and the possibility to do this most sustainable computing that they can.
And maybe just in finishing, I don't know, Kenneth, you want to say something or others, but in terms of the type of offering that you have put together, just any thoughts or advice to folks, because clearly, end users are not short of opportunities to go with particular, providers, whether it's clouds, colo data centers, etc. Just any thoughts you might have as to what people need to look out, because, and again, dare I say, the marketing's great because everyone convince you that their data center is really green and this and the other, but underneath that, what if you like are the actual things that you need to look out for when you're potentially engaging with a supplier such as yourself in terms of what they're actually offering as opposed to what the brochure might say?
So if we look at the sustainability side, I would say look at just beyond the claims and ask where the energy is really coming from. And it certainly wouldn't hurt to visit a site and ask for proof of the energy being actually green. And of course, the upside is that if you visit Iceland, you also have a wonderful experience and see an amazingly beautiful place.
I know a good tour guide as well.
Yeah, and on that, if someone needs to be convinced that Iceland is not a correct place to go, then our doors are always open, just to take them through the whole ecosystem. The reason why we picked Finland as the first place in the Nordics, it both provides a lot of green energy. It's also on the 66th degree, so it's in the same place in the world, on the northern hemisphere. So it's also a beautiful place. So both locations provide a very sustainable way to do compute, and we've seen a lot of these greenwashing in the industry. Of course, it's great that the industry is coming together to take the step towards sustainable computing, but I've still yet to find a good cloud that just provides you with a dedicated CO2 footprint for your compute.
Okay, it's been great to chat to the three of you and coordinate you being here. So appreciate that. Thanks for the insights on Project IceCloud and other thoughts on the industry. I appreciate your time today. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you, Philip.